Yo, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the locker room. It is a very special day here today because we are recording our biggest episode ever on the show, to where we have three special guests on the show. Two of them you have seen before, one you have not. The two are from the WNP podcast. We have Mike Mitchelson and Chase Crawshaw. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah. So happy to be back here on the locker room and ready to get this mock draft going.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, going to be fun. And then our third guest is a very special guest, partially responsible for why this show exists. My father, Sean Mitchelson. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's an honor to be in the locker room with you and with We're Not Professionals.
Yeah, it should be fun. We are, just to clarify, it's a mock draft based on our opinions. As if we are the GM, we will be stepping in two teams' GM's office, making these draft picks. Maybe some trades will happen. I've been trying to pull some strings for some trades here, but haven't gone too well. So not going too well with that, but maybe we'll see him throughout the draft. Not likely, but maybe we will. You never know. So we might as well just hop right into this mock draft, as the Jacksonville Jaguars and my dad are on the clock. So let us know.
Well, as the Jags GM, we've been trying to get out of this pick all week. Nobody wants to offer anything for the number one spot. So lots of needs for the Jags, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I've been looking at different edge rushers, but Urban Meyer is no longer part of this group, so there's no Michigan bias, and we're going to go with Aiden Hutchinson with the number one pick.
Good pick.
Yeah, that is the correct selection at number one.
No, it is not.
No, can I say real quick? I've been seeing a lot of talk on social media that if it's not Aiden Hutchinson, it's a bust at the number one pick. And I think that the amount of hype Aiden Hutchinson is getting above every single other player in this class is a little ridiculous. I think it's a good pick. I think that it could very well be the right pick. But to say, for some people to say out there that it's the only pick, I think that's a little ignorant.
I agree with that. In my position, I know it's boring to take a tackle at number one, but I would have went with Evan Neal, because I think Evan Neal is just a generational tackle. And I don't like Aiden Hutchinson is not even in my top two for my edge rushers. So
that's bold.
It is, but it's true.
I'm taking him. I think he's going to be your solid 10, 12-year pro. He's not going to be the flashy guy, but he's the safe pick. Trayvon Walker, a couple guys like that, Thibodeau, some flags going up there. So I'm just going with the safe pick. Don't think he's going to be some Hall of Famer, but I don't think anybody in this draft at number one is
I think that
is worthy of it. So I'm just going to go with Aiden Hutchinson.
I think that this is a really bad year to have the number one overall pick, because there's just so many options to explore at this number one pick. And I traded out. Yeah, I would not want to have the number one pick. This is a bad year to have it, especially if a not so quarterback heavy class.
And I got to say, even though I said I think it's wrong that people say Aiden Hutchinson is the only pick here, I still like the pick a lot. I think it fits a need. I think Aiden Hutchinson's a very good edge. So I do like the pick. Just wanted to put my statement out there that I think it's wrong when people say it's the only pick. And then one more thing, I am super happy for you guys, Landon and Sean, big Raiders fans. You guys can't mess up another first-round pick this year, so congrats.
Yes.
Hey,
John Gruden's out of the building.
We haven't jumped back. We could jump back into the first round still. You just never know. We can screw something up.
Yeah. Then we won't have any more picks for the next 4 years. But
2-3 years.
Right now, if we trade all our draft picks, I do not care. We're in win now mode. Get as many players as you can.
Interesting.
Agreed.
Anyway, number one pick has been selected. It was Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher out of Michigan. Gained all that hype, and he goes number one. Now on the clock is me with the Detroit Lions. Chase, how do you feel about me making the Lions pick?
It's gonna be interesting because I don't know if you're gonna do something just absolutely wild or if you're gonna go with what I truly wholeheartedly believe is the correct move here. I hope that you do that second option.
I really wanted out of this pick. Like, I'll tell you the trade that I offered. I offered my dad the number 2 pick, and I wanted the 15th, 18th, 51, Avante Maddox, and Gardner Minshew for the Eagles, from the Eagles.
That is a bit rich, I gotta say.
It's
a lot of picks there.
They don't want it's the number 2 pick.
Yeah, but who are they getting up to get? You know, like
The guy I possibly might take right now.
just like your dad was saying, like this is a draft where I don't necessarily want that super high pick because it's more of a depth class rather than a high end class. So,
and I'm cutting you off. You guys should rephrase this. Everybody wants a high pick when it comes draft time. You don't necessarily need the high pick. There's a difference there. Sure, if you have an opportunity to get a cheap high pick, you're absolutely going to take it because the higher you're drafting, the better when it comes draft time. But it's a year where if you didn't get a high pick, oh darn, you move on.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
But it's very risky. I've been going back and forth because I knew that these guys would be on the board at this pick, or because it's just really tough. But I have made my pick. It is not going to be a risky pick. With the second pick in the 2022 Locker Room Mock Draft, the Detroit Lions select Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rusher out of Oregon.
That is the correct pick, indeed. Good choice.
That pick. That's a good pick right there.
Thibodeau is just like Hutchinson. He is a very safe pick that I really don't think that he can mess up or you can mess up the pick. He has great speed for his size in chasing down running backs and getting after the quarterback. He's great with his power moves. His technique is great. This guy is a very, very solid edge rusher, and I have no problem taking him with the number 2 pick considering this draft class. And with the Lions' position of need, one of them being edge rusher, I do think that he will fit in nicely in Detroit.
I agree.
No red flags with his attitude or supposedly maybe taking plays off, being a little lazy, anything like that?
I did see that on film where he did give up, but Dan Campbell will get him in it. He will bite his kneecaps off if he does not work hard.
I think he's got a super high upside, and I think some of those talks about him kind of giving up or even at the combine, you know, he showed up and then just didn't do any of the workouts. I think they're being a little blown out of the water. So super high upside. I like the pick.
Yep. Very, very, very nice pick for the Lions. And now we will move on to pick number 3, which is held by Chase in the Houston Texans. Chase, the Texans are on the clock.
This is a super easy pick for me. My number 1 player left on the board right now. He's also my number 3 ranked player, as the 2 players that just went are my 1 and 2. That is Ike Ekwonu, offensive tackle from NC State. I think he's going to step into the Texans and have an opportunity to probably play guard right away because right now they're where they stand. They're probably set on tackle. But if you watch his guard film, I mean, he was a monster when he had to play inside. He's going to do just fine there in the NFL. And then, you know, once time comes and he needs to move back to the outside, he'll do it with zero issue.
I like that pick a lot. I was actually having a very tough time deciding my 2 tackles or my 2 best tackles. I went with Evan Neal because he's a little bit bigger and I feel like he has higher upside, but Ekwonu has very good technique and he is very versatile around the entire line, which is a very good pick for the Texans considering that they have Laramie Tunsil. So, yep, I really like the pick there.
Yeah, I agree.
Good pick. The Giants aren't too happy with your pick, but I think that's a great pick. Number 3.
All right. Moving on to pick number 4, the New York Jets are on the clock, and that is Mikey's pick. So go ahead, and please don't take the player I think you're going to pick.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of different options here with the Jets. They've got a couple of needs, and luckily they've got a couple of picks as well in the top 10, 4 and 10. I was really hoping that Thibodeau or Ekwonu would be dropping to me. Not the case. I do still want to look at a lineman, whether that be offensive or defensive. You'll find out here in a second. Trayvon Walker, he would be my number 1 defensive lineman, still available. And then you've got Evan Neal, who is my number 1 offensive lineman, still available. The reason I am going to go with Evan Neal, the offensive tackle, is because the Jets do have Carl Lawson coming back from injury. They went out and paid Jacob Martin. So I think that they're a little bit more set there. Whereas George Fant at right tackle, I'm not sure if I'm a big believer in him. So I'm going to go out, get my right tackle of the future, continue to build that line for Zach Wilson. Now you got Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Evan Neal holding up that front line.
I like that pick a lot because he was my first offensive tackle. But would be very interesting. Let's see, Evan Neal does go to the New York Jets. That would make Zach Wilson not have an excuse. That would make we would see the true Zach Wilson then. Because if you have those studs on the line, you really have no excuse not to make plays, in my opinion.
And hey, that's what I want. If I'm a GM, I'm looking to see, is my quarterback the true guy? I'm going to put every piece around him that I can to make sure that he can succeed. And if he doesn't, then I know I got to look elsewhere. So that's exactly what I want. Build my team around that quarterback.
Very nice. And now back to our first, misspoke there. I was going to say first team with 2 picks, but that is not true because the Texans were the Lions were. So now we have the New York Giants on the clock with my dad. Who are the New York Giants going to be taking?
Well, they're a little shell-shocked here with 2 linemen going off the board with Neal and Iguanu, but
yeah,
they still they need offensive line help for sure. They need an edge rusher. They need a DB, especially if they lose Bradbury. We'll see what happens there. I think we're going to go with the guy who's still on the board, edge rusher, Trayvon Walker from Georgia.
I like that pick a lot. He was I had Thibodeau 1, and then I had Walker 2, and then Hutchinson 3. I just think that Walker has so much more upside, and I think that he can potentially take that step to be the best pass rusher in the NFL based on his traits.
You know, the potential's there. I don't think it'd be impossible, but I'm not ready to go that far. I worry a little bit with Trayvon Walker. It very well could be a Georgia scheme thing because you see a lot of defensive players do it, but they're almost like a little too patient at times. And I hope that's just the way that Georgia plays and he can step into the NFL and be a little more impactful than he was. And all the traits show that it's possible, but we really just got to see it happen.
And Walker's versatile too. You can see him on the edge. You can see him play inside. You can even see him drop back into coverage against a running back here and there. And the thing that I really like about it is now you have 2 Georgia offensive or defensive edges with Trayvon Walker and Azeez Ojulari.
Azeez.
I loved Azeez last year. I wanted the Raiders to take him so bad, but we went with Alex Leatherwood. So.
We're going to stop talking about that right now.
He's looking ripped, though. I'm not even going to lie. He is looking good for his offseason. But, yeah, so the Lions go ahead and take Trayvon Walker. 3 edge rushers off the board within these 5 picks. And now we are moving on to the number 6 pick, which is me with the Carolina Panthers. And I think that if some of these guys are on the board, which they should be for the Panthers, there is no question who they should take. They have gone defense heavy these last few years. I believe they do have a top 10 defense in the NFL. Their offensive line is solid. It's manageable that you can win with. Wide receiver core, DJ Moore is there. Who else? I like Terrence Marshall, who could potentially develop into a very good receiver. And that is why the only hole on this team that I see is a huge need, and that is going to be an upgrade over Sam Darnold. So the Panthers here are going to select my number 1 quarterback, Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh.
That's a super exciting pick, I got to say. Like, Kenny Pickett, this is a guy who's going to be able to come in, start immediately. When you look at the rest of the quarterback class, there's questions. Can they start immediately? Kenny Pickett is that guy who can. I do think Sean lucked out a little bit that you went quarterback just because I could also see the Panthers going like a Charles Cross, and that would leave the Giants with absolutely nothing for the offensive line. So a little bit of a luck out there, but also a really good pick.
If they were in the Giants division, I maybe would have done that. But
there you go.
I'm not ready to call this a really good pick. I don't think it's a bad pick.
Okay, Carson Strong guy.
Hey, I have Kenny Pickett above Carson Strong right now. So hold your horses first. But anyway, I'm really nervous about taking really any quarterback super high in this. If you're taking one, I'm more interested in the guy that has, the traits to have the upside, which would be a Malik Willis, where Kenny Pickett, if he comes in and if he's somewhere between a Carson Wentz and a Derek Carr his whole career, I guess that's a perfectly fine starter. If Carr is on the high end, that's a guy that you could win a Super Bowl with if you have a good enough team around him, but he's never going to be the guy to carry it. And I think it's kind of what you're getting with Kenny Pickett. Never a guy that's going to be able to carry it. So it's a little worrisome for me, but I also think there's a zero chance that they're going Malik Willis. If they're taking a quarterback, they're taking Kenny Pickett there.
Why do you keep saying little? Is it because you're afraid of his little hands? Is that your big problem?
That's
listen to this little hand nonsense.
Little
Joe
hand
Burrow
syndrome.
only is a half size hand higher than him, and Joe Burrow was an MVP caliber quarterback.
Good to go.
That's a half size smaller still. Makes you think.
So what? Okay, when Kenny Pickett wins Offensive Player of the Year, you can come talk to me.
I will be sure to never have to do that.
Well, you will,
especially when he's playing in Carolina. Jeez, he's not going to win that.
But if I really had wanted to see Kenny Pickett go anywhere, it would be to the New York Giants, as I said in my last episode, because I see so many shades of Josh Allen in Kenny Pickett. He's 6'3", he's like, 3 inches smaller than Allen? Sure, Josh Allen's hands are a lot bigger, but I see similar in their mobility and their athleticism, their throw on the run. I feel like Brian DeBull with Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, a Josh Allen 2.0 would develop Kenny Pickett into a MVP caliber quarterback.
I love that.
Can't disagree anymore.
So, perfect fit for New York. Perfect fit.
Oh, jeez.
So sorry I took him from you. But
no, that's okay.
New York,
I'm gonna.
They're on the clock.
I'm happy that you took Kenny Pickett. We weren't looking at him. Obviously, we're still looking at offensive line help. There is a couple DBs out there that we're looking at, but we're rushing to the podium, and we're going to put that ticket in for Mr. Charles Cross because we build within and not without, or from the outside in. So we're going to be taking defensive line with 5, offensive line with 7, and the Giants are going to start to be a formidable team if we can just get a quarterback.
And it seems like that's how you build in the modern day NFL. If you have the quarterback, you start building both sides of the trenches. The Giants don't, but, the GM over there seems to think they do, and the ownership and everything over in New York, they seem to think Daniel Jones is the guy. I think next year they'll figure it out. That's not the case, but I can't argue with the pick. It's a good one.
And I think this is the right decision here. I think this is the easiest decision thus far of this whole draft. So we're 7 picks in. Mm-hmm. I think this is the only one where it's like, this isn't even a question. We're writing this name down. We're walking up. We don't have to waste a second of clock time because it just makes too much sense.
Yep.
This is the safe pick. Can't argue it. So it's a good pick.
So we didn't think, there was a thought of Sauce. We didn't think Sauce would be a fit there in the Giants.
I think it could be. I think it could work out, but I just think that with the way the offensive Giants, it's just you really, really need to bolster something and give Daniel Jones every reason to prove why he's not good enough. You have to give him all the right pieces and hope that he can succeed when he's probably not going to succeed.
Fair enough. Moving on to the 8th pick, we have Mikey with the Atlanta Falcons on the board.
Oh boy. I don't know if some of you guys are going to love this, but hey,
I've got a pick that I would love.
The Falcons,
come on.
Last year, they decided to skip on quarterback. Then they go and trade Matt Ryan. Now they're left with Marcus Mariota, Goaty Miotti. I don't think he's going to do it, though. So I'm going Malik Willis. Let's go the flashy pick. Quarterback with the high upside. That's what's going to win you games in this league. So even though they've got a lot of needs, edge, wide receiver, you could look at the defensive backs, add to AJ Terrell. I'm going to go with the quarterback.
I love the Malik Willis pick. As I said in my quarterback ranking episode, I think Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett are right there, right next to each other. I just gave the edge to Pickett. And Malik Willis, he's great at scrambling. We all know that. He's very mobile, very athletic. I think he has great pocket presence and escaping outside. He has phenomenal arm strength. I mean, it's amazing. And his decision-making and his he has a bit of an overthrow issue. His decision-making and his accuracy what questioned me, but if he gets those down, I have no doubt that he will be better than Kenny Pickett and better than most quarterbacks in the NFL. He just has these little problems that he needs to fix, and then I think he can be great.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he's really the only like franchise upside quarterback in this class. There's guys that can be solid starters. I think there's a couple of those, but that's really like their ceiling. Whereas Malik Willis is the only one that I really see ever having a chance at reaching that ceiling. And this is an interesting fit. I could see it based on Mariota being in that offense, and I would still give the edge to Mariota this season. I think he's a starting caliber quarterback, to be honest with you. So that would be nice because then you have him in play. You can kind of help Malik Willis fully adjust to the NFL, and then you already have an offense in place that's set up for Malik Willis instead of having to try to adapt to something new because you adapted it to Mariota already. So it's a pick that makes sense. There's just one other pick I like for certain reasons. Just may or may not have been a UGA boy that I wanted to see there, just because it'd be a cool fit.
I hope it's not the one I'm thinking about taking with one of my picks.
We'll see.
All right, now we are moving on to what the ninth pick. Yes, is that is back to my dad with the Seattle Seahawks, who got this from the Denver Broncos in the Russell Wilson trade, which Seahawks won that trade by a mile because Wilson sucks. Yeah.
Well, in the Seahawks camp, we're calling it the Drew Lock trade because right now we're pretty much stuck with Drew Lock.
Yes.
Thanks.
You could change that with this pick right here, though.
Well, if Malik was sitting on the board, I think we may have, but he's not. So at this point, I think the Seahawks, they got some needs. Definitely offensive line, but we've already seen 3 go. Defense, the defense as well, some linebacker corner issues. I think we're going best player on the board at this point.
Oh no.
And we're drinking the sauce. It's Sauce Gardner.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. I really wanted to get Sauce, but I can't argue it. He's my number 1 player on my board. So amazing pick.
I think it's a really good pick. The problem is with Seattle is Russell Wilson's been carrying them like the past 3 years. So whatever pick you go here, it's not going to look like the right pick just because so many picks are the right pick, too many that they just don't have. So this is a team that's still a lot of years out. So I think Sauce is a great player, and hopefully Seattle can continue to build.
And it makes sense that the pick, it definitely does, but there's one other player that there's an edge rusher on the board who I have as my 9th overall player in this class, who I think would be a great fit there as well. But really, it's both those, Sauce and this other edge rusher. I don't want to drop names. Guys aren't drafted yet. That's why I'm just saying this. But those 2 guys are both fair plays at that pick.
Yeah, and I think that guy that you're talking about, because I know who you're talking about, I think you do rate him a little bit higher than normal consensus.
I know I do, but I did see a mock draft yesterday where I'm just gonna say the player. I don't really care. It's Jermaine Johnson.
Yep.
I saw a mock draft yesterday. I saw the Lions take him 2nd overall. I'm like, okay. I'm a Jermaine Johnson guy. We got to pump the brakes here. That's too rich.
All right, moving on to the number 10 overall pick with Mikey and the New York Jets, who got it from Seattle. So who will they go? I'm just gonna ask this question: if Sauce was on the board here, would you have taken him?
That's very interesting. I don't know if I would. It would definitely be
consideration.
More enticing. Yeah, it'd definitely be in consideration. I'm glad I don't have to worry about that though. And hey, I started off that 4th pick with the Jets about, hey, we gotta continue to build around Zach Wilson. I'm gonna continue to do the same. I'm gonna go out, and he's not my number 1 wide receiver. He's not my number 2 receiver. But I'm actually going to go get the guy who I think fits this offense the most, and that's going to be Drake London out of USC. I think he's going to be a dominating X for the Seattle team. You got Elijah Moore, who I think can play that Z. And then Corey Davis, I think he can really play all over the place. And he's not really the guy I want to shine on my offense. I'm going to go to Elijah Moore more and Drake London more than him. So that's why I'm going to go Drake London.
You know what's funny about this is when I was doing mock drafts on my own, your number 1 guy is the one that I constantly like to put here because I think it makes sense as some. I think that he's gonna be more of a slot guy. Garrett Wilson, that's who I'm talking about here. I think he's gonna be more of a slot guy in the NFL, to be honest. But he's got enough ability where he can play on the outside. And it gives him a little bit of flexibility where Devontae Smith will just stick on the outside. Not Devontae Smith.
Drake London.
Yeah, or like Drake London. I don't know why I said Devontae Smith. Like Drake London will stick on the outside the whole time for them. So if that's what they're looking for, then it makes sense. I can definitely understand that, but I think either way, not a bad pick at all.
Yeah, I also feel like Zach Wilson. He's just going to be looking for. Obviously, this is a guy who can get in some trouble at times, so he might be looking for a guy that can just win those 50-50 balls that he just chucks up there. So.
Sure.
I like the pick. I really think you can't go wrong with any of these top 6 receivers. I believe this receiver classes just seem to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong with any receiver pick. It's just more of what fits your system as like you did. He's not your number 1 receiver that you would have took, but he fits the scheme the best. Very tall guy. He has very good speed for his size. I really like Drake London. He is not in my I did move into my top 5 over Garrett Wilson, but my only issue is with him.
I am offended.
Really, Garrett Wilson is trash, man. Garrett Wilson, he's a good receiver, but he is not near the caliber of any of these other guys.
Chase had him all the way down at his number 8. He is no longer at Chase's number 8. So maybe it's time that you readdress the film.
He's at my number 6.
And, take a peek.
He's at my number 6, and that is how
you
he
can
is
throw.
going
I
to.
think you can throw top these 5-6 receivers. You can pretty much throw them in the hopper, and it's just whatever's going to fit your system, like you said. But I like this pick for like you were saying, Mike, the Zach Wilson. Throw the ball up, let Drake London go get it, because he's not always going to be accurate, but he may be under duress and he's going to throw it up there. So getting the tallest receiver out of these great ones, I think Drake London's a good pick there.
Thank you.
Speaking of system fits, that's where I am now on the clock with the Washington Commanders. And that is why, with the number 11 pick, another receiver will be coming off the board, and it's going to be Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State.
He just rips on the guy and takes him right away.
Right.
He fits the system the best. Like, I don't see a Jamison Williams fitting in here as much as, what's his name? Garrett Wilson. Chris Olave, I do think he's better, but I do think that Garrett Wilson has better upside in this system. It's just all based on system at this point. And I do think that Garrett Wilson fits this system very well. And I do think that him and Carson Wentz could click it off.
I think the real reason he fits in the system perfectly is you now look at your top 3 wide receivers. You go Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, all from Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just building up to get CJ next year.
Yep, CJ Stroud first overall next year. I also like De'Ami Brown that they got out of North Carolina. So I think this makes this one of the more underrated wide receiver rooms in the league.
Very so. Moving on to the 12th pick, and that is with Chase. And Chase, I think that there is a guy who can fit this system very well on the defensive side of the ball.
I just got to say, I have the next 2 picks, and I am very happy that this has played out the way that it did, because this is the way I was hoping it kind of would. So first off, the Minnesota Vikings are grabbing Derek Stingley at cornerback.
Yes, sir. That is who I was talking about.
Match made in heaven. I think the Minnesota GM was going to be doing backflips and somersaults going up to the podium or turn this card in. It makes way too much sense. It fills a very gaping need at defensive back.
Very so. And when I was doing my comparison, I see a lot of Patrick Peterson and Derek Stingley. Prime Pat P is who I see with his coverage, and I loved Pat P in his prime. So I do like Derek Stingley here.
And how they got Pat Pete in Minnesota. So
yeah, that is very true.
He got Derek Stingley to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very nice pick. That is like the one pick where in like every mock draft, if he's there, I'm like, oh, taking him. Because if he is on the board and the Vikings pass on him, they can no longer laugh at the Eagles for taking Jalen Reagor, because that would just be absolutely stupid if they don't take him and he's on the board.
That's fair.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to PFF. I didn't really notice this until right now. I'm using their mock draft simulator to keep up with all the picks that we are making. And every single team has their needs on it. And then the Texans for needs, it just says every position. So
so funny.
That is funny. So moving on to pick number 13, and Chase is up again with the Houston Texans. You have every position in need, so who are you going to take?
I might as well just stick with the defensive back and go Kyle Hamilton, who just falls into the Texans' lap at 13 overall. And another GM doing backflips going to the podium to turn this card in, because this is just dream scenario for these two teams in the draft. I mean, Derek Stingley is a perfect fit for Minnesota. And then you look at Houston with so many gaping needs. You can get this, hopefully, a versatile defender, someone who can kind of do a couple things for you in your defense and maybe, transform into a legitimate leader and one of the better safeties in the league. It just makes so much sense here.
I love the pick. I think Kyle Hamilton isn't my best safety. I do think he's a bit overrated, but there's even some consideration that the Texans are going to take this guy at 3. So if you can get him at 13, slam run or grand slam.
Slam run like that. I'm sorry.
Grand slam easily.
Grand slam, slam dunk, whatever you want to say.
Exactly.
Combine them both. But yeah, considering that they were considering taking at 3, getting him at 13 is just phenomenal.
I agree.
That would bring up Mikey to the podium with the Baltimore Ravens.
So Baltimore is one of the harder picks for me. I think Baltimore and Pittsburgh, both teams that don't have like extremely glaring needs. I am excited, or I would be excited if I was a Baltimore fan and maybe they went interior defensive line to look for one of those Georgia boys. But I think that they might be a little scared right now, seeing Derek Stingley and Kyle Hamilton go off the board. They're going to go out and get a nice scheme fit in Trent McDuffie. They did lose 2 cornerbacks this offseason. So I think if there is one need that might be the most needs the most attention, it might be corner. So I'm going to go get a good scheme fit there.
And I told you on our DBs episode today, like this is a scheme fit that I think does make sense.
Yeah.
And so I could see it, but I liked where you were heading when you were first talking. I like that interior defensive lineman from Georgia possibly going there.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked that you did not go receiver with this pick. Can you explain why you did not go with the receiver?
Yeah, I think it very well could be the case, go out and get wide receiver, but they went out, got wide receiver high last year. They still got Mark Andrews. And this is really a run heavy team. So even though I think they could use it, add to Bateman and Marquise Brown, I don't think it was the number one position of need. Obviously, they were decimated by injuries last year, so that hurt their cornerback room. But then they lost 2 of their guys to free agency. So that's why I went with the scheme fit and Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, I like the pick. I mean, really with the Ravens, they have so many. Excuse me. Sorry, these text messages, I need to turn them off. But they have really a solid player at every position that there's really some positions where it can be a toss-up, and I really think that you could go best player available here for your scheme fit, and I do think that Trent McDuffie is one of those players to where he can fit in the scheme and become a very solid player.
Wait, let me ask you, Mr. GM, is that trade text over there? Or
It was.
Hey.
But I can tell you the trade will not be going down.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sadly.
Ouch.
All right. So now who I was trying to trade up with, 15 Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock.
Well, the Eagles, they got pick 15 and 18. Looking at wide receiver, but with 2 picks and the depth with the wide receiver, we're going to go with probably the best guy on the board at this point. And I think that's one of those interior Georgia linemen. We're going to go Jordan Davis.
That's who I was trying to trade up for. God dang it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I didn't trade.
Jordan Davis, he is my number 2 player in the class, so I think it's a phenomenal pick.
I mean, it's not one of their glaring needs, I would say, but getting that big beef in the interior in the middle, that's just going to help out. And I think best guy there for that fit. So let's go with it.
And I got to say, who's going to want to go up against Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Milton Williams? Like, no, thanks. I'm good.
and I really do firmly believe that interior defensive line is a heavily undervalued position nowadays in the NFL. especially when you're looking at a guy like Jordan Davis, someone who is this unique athlete at the position who can win on pass rushes and who's going to dominate in the run game. So you can get a guy like this. I mean, he's going to be an every down player eventually. Maybe he needs a little more conditioning, because I've seen those concerns. And if you want to say that, that's fine. But I think by the NFL season, he's got plenty of time. He's going to be just fine. So he's going to be able to be a true, 3-down player and can get to the quarterback on those passing downs from that DT position. It really is an incredible tool to have for any team.
Chase, are you still an owner of Zeke Elliott in fantasy?
I am.
This would destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah, it might.
As I said, Jordan Davis, number 2 player in the class. In my eyes. I mean, this guy he ran, what was it? 4.78?
Yep.
How many does it? Over 300 pounds?
Like 340 something, isn't he?
Yeah, I just think it's 340.
How is your Carson Strong feeling now that a guy who weighs over 300 pounds is running faster than Carson Strong?
That's true.
Hey, he doesn't throw the ball like Carson Strong does, so eat it.
He throws Carson.
I take Carson Strong is not accurate.
Oh, jeez.
He is not accurate. But back to Jordan Davis. I've seen this guy chase down running backs on film. I mean, there is not a soft spot in his game at all, and that's why I absolutely love him. Moving on to pick number 16, that would be Chase with the New Orleans Saints, and I have a pretty good feeling on who he is going to go with here.
Do you?
I do, but not after that tone. No, I don't.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually don't have like a really true number one exact guy I want right here. There's one position that I'm going for, and I really don't have one specific guy that I think is like just absolutely needed. But I just thought about this. Looking at the draft.
Okay.
I have enough faith that there's not gonna be a trade. So I actually can go a different position and circle back to this position with the second pick. So as of right now, I am actually going to draft offensive tackle Trevor Penning here. Ooh. And then circle back to my other second pick. I think that Trevor Penning is a very legitimately solid offensive tackle, a guy that I would trust at left or right, and I think he could step into left as a day one starter and not have any problem. So it'll bring some protection up front for Jameis, who needs it, because if that guy feels pressure, he just chucks it downfield and gets 30 interceptions in a season. So if you can get him that protection, and then hopefully maybe hinting at this next pick, address a weapon for him to throw to it there, then this could work out really well.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
Very nice pick there.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like the pick. This is a team that needs a lot more than I think people expect. So to go out and get a top offensive tackle, he's my 4th offensive tackle, and a guy who's got high upside. If he can be coached in the right way, then it'd be a good pick.
I agree.
Very nice.
I love the guy. I think he's ferocious. I mean, he's got that mean streak that everybody talks about. So I think it's a great pick at that selection. I think he's going to be a long-time tackle in this league for sure.
I agree, 100%.
This was one of those players where I'm like, the Bengals got Lyle Collins, but if the Bengals got this guy, oh my God, he's a perfect fit for the Bengals, and him in those stripes, I think it would just be amazing to see. And Mikey, I'm sure you would be very happy with it, wouldn't you?
At this point, I think there's other offensive linemen that I'd look at, just because we did get Lyle Collins. If we didn't, then sure.
And I'm going to stop you there with some breaking news. That Kadarius Toney is currently being put on the trade block for the New York Giants.
I just saw that as well. It's interesting. I really don't understand why you want to move on from a guy so quickly. I know he's got some like off-field character type things, but it's a young kid that you hope you can kind of put him on the straight and narrow. If you're that worried about it, then I guess that's fair. But he showed enough talent last year where as long as he can stay healthy and not do anything stupid, I mean, he could be a legitimate solid receiver in most offenses, and I think it would fit the Giants pretty well. So interesting.
Yep. I'm actually shocked by this because he did show a lot of bright spots last year. Sure, he had some injury concern, but he had a lot of bright spots. And I think that he played a lot better than Kenny Galladay last year. Golly. So possibly a future number one receiver or a very good slot. It's kind of shocking that after his first season, he is shipped and they want to get rid of him. And it just concerns me. Like, is there more that we do not know about this guy?
Hey, I'm just happy because Kadarius Toney, who I have on my dynasty team, is no longer going to be getting the ball thrown to him.
I have him too. I just forgot about that. I have him too.
Also, wanted to go back to Sean. You took Trayvon Walker and Charles Cross with the 5 and 7. Are you now? Maybe you got to address the wide receiver.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, can we rewind 20 minutes? Jeez.
Well, anyway, we got with that breaking news. And who did you just take, Chase? It was Trevor Penning, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Trevor Penning to the Saints. And now at 17, the Los Angeles Chargers are on the clock.
Ooh, is it time to get Herbert some more weapons?
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
No, it's time to get him some more protection. We're going to put him on the offensive line. And we're going to go with Kenyon Green. So he can play inside and outside, and we're going to protect Herbert for years to come. And they're going to be able to run the ball better than they did last year because I think they were on the lower half of the league in running. So Kenyon Green is the pick. Protect Herbert at all costs.
I got to say, I think there is a lot better inside lineman that is on the board right now. Who I know Mikey wants to fall to his Bengals. And that would be, you know what, maybe we'll see.
Why are we saying his name? Yeah, I was going to say, why are we?
I got to say, though, I do like this pick because of the versatility. I'm a big fan of versatile players, especially in positions where there's not traditionally a ton of versatility. So if you're an offensive lineman that can play on the inside, get kicked to the outside if needed, that's a great asset to have. And it really just it makes sense here. If you can keep Justin Herbert up, if you can give him 2.5 seconds, throw the ball on every snap, I mean, he's going to lead the league in passing yards every single year. He's got that kind of talent.
He's no Joe Burrow, but I agree. He is a good little player. I do question his versatility that you guys are talking about. I see him more of as an interior run dominating guard. He has played some tackle, but didn't love his tackle tape. So interested to see with the Chargers getting in such a dominating offensive lineman, if they're able to teach him up, make him that right tackle that they so desperately need.
With these versatile players in the offensive line, I do agree with that. But every time I question it because I'm like, Alex Leatherwood is versatile. He ain't doing too much.
Yeah, but he was also just a bad draft pick because he wasn't very good.
And because he was by the Raiders.
Yep.
Any first round Raiders pick.
Surprised he hasn't got a DUI yet, to be honest. But
easy.
Anyway.
Easy. Jeez.
I'm just saying.
Here.
Pick number 18 is held by my dad, Philadelphia Eagles, second pick. Who you going with?
Whew. I like the Eagles spot here. I see some good defense on the board, some players, but they're going to get one more weapon on the outside, and we're going to go with Jameson Williams.
Woo, right. The speedster.
Reuniting Alabama receivers. I like it. You got the more technically sound Devontae Smith, and then you got the speed demon and Jameson Williams. So I think it's a good pick, and hopefully Jalen Hurts can utilize both of those guys to the fullest.
He won't.
I love Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback.
Hey, is he a top 10 quarterback right now?
No, but he will be after this year.
Thank you for not saying yes. I was going to have a meltdown.
Graham?
But Derek Carr is.
Hey, Derek Carr's elite. You got no arguments here.
Now we're talking, Chase. There you go.
Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr will only get better with Devontae Adams. I mean, if he doesn't, then it's time to move on, even though we just linked him up. If he does not perform better than he did last year, then
give him a little time there. They haven't even been on the field yet. You're already.
No, they've been on the field together. They've been on the field together.
Oh, back in Fresno?
No, they were working out. I saw it on Adam's story. They were working out together. Not in a game, but
let's get him on. Let's get him a season or two before we start saying Carr isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So the 18th pick, Jameson Williams, goes off the board to the Philadelphia Eagles. As now we are moving on to the number 19 pick with the New Orleans Saints second pick. And Jace, I think there is one guy that you have got to take here.
I think there's a couple guys I'm going to take here, and I could take here.
I was going to say you can't take a couple.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm going to take this one pick, but I legitimately have 4 wide receivers that I would be okay taking here because I like talent. I have one guy significantly higher than all these other receivers. I am the highest person you're ever going to find on George Pickens, but I'm not taking George Pickens here. I think there is better fits, and I think as much as I would love to see him in a different offense, Christian Watson to the Saints makes a lot of sense to me. It gives you it's a guy that's going to be a little more kind of development. It's a little more boom bust, but I do believe in his talent. He has enough athleticism. He has the size where he could work really well in what a Jameis Winston-led offense is going to be for the Saints. It's going to be one with a lot of throwing because Jameis Winston loves to throw the ball. So they're going to put their trust in him, see if they can really utilize him to their full stability. And I think Christian Watson is someone that would benefit pretty heavily from that. I think he could walk into 120 targets right away.
I didn't do my receiver. I watched 7 receivers on film. Christian Watson was not one of them until I watched the WNP video on their wide receivers. I went back, watched Christian Watson's film, and this guy is an athletic freak. For his speed at 6'5", it is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that if there could be one perfect fit, and I'm sure this one team, I think is dying to get him, I think that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Sure, He's not fast as Tyreek, but he's bigger than Tyreek, and I think that he could well be in that position to replace Tyreek for the Chiefs. I love Christian Watson.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when I do on my own, I do everything I can in my ability to have it line up. Like I want to do what I think is going to happen, or what I think should happen, but I try to do everything I can to make it so Christian Watson ends up as a Chief because I think that is like the dream fit. But I still think that the Saints could find some success with him as well.
Yeah, I think Christian Watson is a unbelievable player. Like any of these top 8 receivers, I think are unbelievable. Like this receiver class is just crazy and how much talent it is there.
Love it.
I mean, it is just this receiver class is so deep. It's not even funny. So now we're moving on to pick number 20. Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock with Mikey's favorite team.
Yeah. Glad he gave me the Steelers. Love it. But I got to say, this was one of the harder teams for me to think about what I want to do. Like if Malik Willis dropped down here, I was going to take Malik Willis. Trevor Penning was a guy I was keeping my eye on as well. He's off the board. Here's the thing. Last year we did a mock draft for the WNP show, and one of the top guys, Devontae Smith, dropped all the way down to, I think it was 19 or 20. I find it very strange that there's still a guy on the board. This is not a huge need for the Steelers. They have had some injuries in this position group last year, but I think Jermaine Johnson is just a home run for the Steelers. They're going to go best player available, get the edge out of Florida State.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually fell this far considering how high Chase was on him. I thought he was going to take him with the Saints pick.
I thought about it for sure. And I am a huge Jermaine Johnson guy, day one impact guy, and someone that I believe is bound to be a safe top 10 edge in the league. I really like Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, and I like George Karlaftis a little bit better than Jermaine Johnson, but again, it comes down to scheme and everything. So I just decided let's go Jermaine Johnson over Karlaftis. This is a guy who also has a higher ceiling. I think the Steelers are just running to the podium if this guy's still on the board for him.
If this happens, I'm telling you, I mean, this is a steal of a pick for the Steelers, and this is the Steeler kind of pick.
Yeah,
I mean, they lead the league in sacks every year, and this is just adding to the artillery that they have. So this is a complete Steeler pick, and it's a home run in my book.
I gotta say, I'm pissed about it though. If that actually,
for you.
Yeah, that actually happens. Oh man, I'm losing it.
So yeah, and now with the 21st overall pick, the New England Patriots with my dad are on the clock.
Well, I was getting a lot of texts, people wanting this pick again at 21, but there's a couple guys that are out there that I think are a great fit. Belichick might not seem to feel the same way, but there's a guy out of Georgia, and his name's Nakobe Dean. and I think he would be perfect.
That is who I was
the
training
middle
up to get. Oh
linebacker
my
spot.
God. You take my players.
So I think he's a little bit undersized as far as, the middle linebacker position, but from sideline to sideline, this guy's going to be a solid NFL pro, if not Pro Bowler, and I think he'd be perfect in New England. So that's what we're going with.
I mean, this would be the perfect fit for him. How well New England develops their linebackers, it is absolutely amazing. Considering I have probably a very controversial big board with my top 25 because Nakobe Dean is that at number 3 because I just think he's that great of a player. This guy, he can play in coverage very well. He can tackle very well. And what I think is even more impressive at his size and where he plays is he is also very effective in the pass rush game, which I think is very, very important. He is a 5-tool linebacker in my opinion, and he's amazing. Best.
He's an athlete.
Third best player on the defense for me in the entire draft. Third best player in the entire draft.
Wow.
Didn't you have Jordan Davis at number 2 though?
Yeah.
Were you saying that Nakobe Dean was the best player on Georgia's defense, or did I hear that wrong? Sorry.
No, I said that he is the third best player on defense in this draft class.
Gotcha.
Just wow. I mean, I like the pick to the Patriots. Like, I don't have any issue with that. Just wow at calling him your number 3 player. I mean, you do you're allowed to have your opinion. It's just not one I can quite get behind right now.
Well, when he wins Defensive Player of the Year, we'll see.
All right, we got a couple of awards to look out for.
I do like the Nakobe Dean pick. I think that him or Devin Lloyd, the other linebacker there, I think either way, it's a good fit for New England. So good pick.
Yep, very nice pick for New England. Is now we are on to pick numero 22 from the Las Vegas Raiders. The Green Bay Packers are on the clock with me, and there is no question who I am taking here. Aaron Rodgers has always wanted a big, speedy receiver. He had Devontae Adams, but now he has got himself Treylon Burks out of Arkansas.
I thought that was build up to a different receiver, but I am also a Treylon Burks fan.
I know who you're thinking. I know who you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna completely hate on this pick just because I have the other guy as my number 1 receiver, but I do like Treylon Burks as well. So if Matt Canada's offense is going to be willing to be as creative as you really need to be for Treylon Burks, because he's a guy that you're going to want to get him the ball as quick as possible, get it, help him just kind of get the ball in space, maybe give him some carries. If you can do those type of things with him, I think that could work out pretty well. I obviously don't know if they would or wouldn't because they've got 2 talented running backs, so maybe he's not going to get a ton of carries, and we haven't really seen them with a player like that. But I could see a world where it does work out.
I was debating between these 2 players, and what was very interesting to me, when you said creative scheme, I thought 49ers, I thought of Deebo Samuel, and I thought it really does stink that no one in here the 49ers don't have a first-round pick, so no one could trade Deebo Samuel for some picks. I just thought that if someone did, that would be kind of a fun way to do this mock draft, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way. But I was battling between Treylon Burks and the other guy. I'm not going to say his name because I might take him with another pick. You don't know. But I just picked Treylon Burks because I do think that he will fit better in the Packers scheme. He's more muscular than this other guy, and I do think that Rodgers wants more of a big body receiver where he can throw that ball up there, and I feel like Treylon Burks can do that as well with the speed and the route running.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think wide receiver, absolutely a position need for them. I just wouldn't have gone my 5th ranked wide receiver and a guy who has some conditioning questions. And the Packers, they've got a history with players that have conditioning questions. Look at Eddie Lacy. I would have preferred the other guy a lot more, to be honest, but I am the Debbie Downer on Treylon Burks. I do not have him nearly as high as everyone else.
Very true. I was shocked when you had him at 5. I literally said, "What's out?" I literally screamed, "What?" out loud. I'm like, "What?" I was so upset. But anyway, moving on from the Packers pick, we are at Chase with probably one of the more boring picks in the draft with the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, boring, huh?
Hey, I'm torn between two players right here. A couple guys that I have ranked as higher than what, this is pick 23. I have them ranked higher than that. Two guys in my top 20 players. And it's really just what way I want to go. I'm really tempted to go on the defensive side of the football, but I'm actually going to go on the offensive side of the football. And I'm going to take Tyler Linderbaum to be the eventual replacement for Rodney Hudson, because that guy does not have very much time left. So in the meantime, maybe you can use Tyler Linderbaum as a right guard or something. I honestly don't know who their right guard is, but it's Will Hernandez or Justin Pugh in the left guard. You can throw him at guard because you're not really missing much out of those guys. So you can throw him at guard in the meantime. Eventually, maybe even after a year, he's your starting center. I don't think it's necessarily the most biggest glaring need, but I just think it's a talented player who happens to kind of fall to that spot and helps kind of protect Kyler if he decides to stay there.
I thought for sure he'd go the guard.
I know you wanted him with the Bengals.
Hey, I did, but that's completely fine. I thought for sure he would have gone the guard. I think the guard is a more glaring issue as of right now, but I get it. Tyler Linderbaum is higher on your interior offensive line list.
He's my number 7 player in the whole class.
Yes. Interesting, but I think overall it does address it.
Yes, very, very, very well so. Is Rodney Hudson, what is he, like 34?
He's something like that. He's
72.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's.
I would just say he would be a lot better in a Raiders uniform still, but
I haven't heard from him once he left the Raiders, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's also, but I also don't follow the Cardinals, so I don't know how he's doing. But anyway, another boring pick coming up with Mikey, and that is going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
There's a couple different places I could go here. I really want to go replace Connor McGovern at left guard and just take Zion Johnson. I think that's an easy pick. I'm also looking at edge, though, because they lost Randy Gregory this offseason. But when I'm looking at my big board, Zion Johnson is just far and above the edges remaining that are true pass rushers. I do have George Karlaftis a little bit closer, but he is going to be more of setting your edge, run stopper type of guy. So I'm going to go Zion Johnson here out of Boston College.
Oops, sorry.
All right, good pick. I'm glad that loved it.
No, that's a solid pick. It was either him or Kenyon Green when I was going to go back on my offensive line pick earlier. So I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I can't hate it.
Kind of boring, but
Yeah,
Cowboys are boring.
It's a little boring for Jerry World, but
boring.
Well, hey, if Treylon Burks was there, I was going to hit it. I'm not going to lie.
That is
Treylon
such a Cowboys pick. I guarantee you, if Burks falls to where the Cowboys are, Jerry Jones is pulling that trigger without a doubt.
Yeah, the Arkansas ties.
It would be so irritating.
I agree.
It would. It would. So now we're going to be with the number 25 overall pick, and that is with me with the Buffalo Bills. This is a very interesting spot because I have a rule when I draft if I was a GM, but this is the one team that can break that rule with the Buffalo Bills having a lot.
Which one is it?
With a lot of players locked in with very good skill around their entire team, except for the running back position.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go with who I think fits them the best. And out of Texas A&M is not the guy I'm taking. I am taking the guy out of Iowa State, Breece.
Not gonna lie.
Hall.
Not gonna lie. You had Chase and I shocked over here.
I wish we should have had our cameras on to see the eyes blow up.
Hey,
Yeah,
Breece Hall.
we're going.
Pick.
He is not my number one running back, but Breece Hall, I do think, fits this scheme the best, being a better pass catcher than the other running back that I had above him. Not necessarily a better runner, in my opinion, but he is the better pass catcher, and I do think that you need to be a better pass catcher in this Bills offense, which is why Breece Hall is breaking my one rule exception for not taking a running back in the first round. Buffalo Bills got an absolute tank out of this pick.
That's fair. I agree.
I mean, like, it's the only pick for the Bills. Like, I cannot see another hole on their team besides the running back position. And oh my God, I have the second pick in my dynasty league. Oh my God. If he would somehow not go one and I got Breece Hall with the Bills, whoo, that would be one dominant player. That is
That's
for
fair.
sure. Moving on to the number 26 pick. The Tennessee Titans are on the board. And I do think, Chase, that there is one player that could be very interesting to select here.
I've got two players that are quite interesting to select here, and it depends which side of the ball you want to go on. I really do think that with with some rumblings that you've heard out of like potentially AJ Brown's whole situation, maybe they could go receiver here. I could see it happening, but I think with the identity that this offense rolls with, I just how do they pass on Devin Lloyd? I think that it just makes too much sense. You're getting a guy who can come in and immediately be a 100+ tackler and be someone who's just a stalwart on your defensive front or defensive, I guess front. I don't know if front's the word I use. Yeah. Front. You mean your front seven, and be just that dude for the next 7-8 years. I think he's got that kind of talent and should come in right away and be that guy.
Yeah, great pick here.
I wouldn't have been shocked if you went quarterback, honestly.
That is who I was thinking about.
There's not a lot of people talking quarterback to the Titans, but not Matt Ryan, but Ryan Tannehill, I think he's coming up on 34 years old. You can get out of his contract after this upcoming year with not a huge, cap hit and stuff. So I think people aren't talking about it enough, but I agree. I think it's a good pick. Devin Lloyd is my linebacker one, so it's just going to continue to bolster that Tennessee defense.
Yeah, sure. This was the one player that I thought would fit the Raiders well if they still had their pick, but obviously they don't. He would be a great fit for the Raiders, in my opinion, who I would love for them to take, but I'd rather have Devontae Adams, if I'm being honest, so bye-bye. Now moving on to pick 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Mikey.
I mean,
a lot of options.
Tampa has a desperate need with the interior offensive line. They lose Ali Marpet to free agency to retirement. And then Alex Kappa comes over to the Bengals. So their guards are looking very weak right now. But this is another situation where I feel like a guy who's on the board shouldn't still be on the board. That's my number one defensive tackle, Devontae Wyatt. I'm going to take him easily as Ndamukong Suh, still not signed. Not sure if he's going to be. I know he was seen in Boston a couple of weeks ago. So if he's not, and you roll out Vita Vea and Devontae Wyatt, I think that's still going to be an absolutely stellar core.
Very interesting take at how he is your defensive lineman one. Can you explain more why he is above, what's his face, Jordan Davis?
Absolutely. So I just think he's got a lot more explosion. I think a lot of the times, Jordan Davis, he doesn't get off the line very quick. I think he's a very good player, and Jordan Davis, easily my number two. Love both of these guys. But when I compare the two of them, I talked about it in our episode covering defensive linemen. Jordan Davis is your immovable object, but Devontae Wyatt is that unrelenting force. He's going to be a guy more like Geno Atkins, who can get in the backfield. He's going to be your three technique trying to rush the passer, where Jordan Davis is going to be more of a nose. And Tampa, they've already got that nose with Vita Vea, so you need that interior defensive lineman that can bring a little bit of pressure, and that's Devontae Wyatt. So
let's say, real life, the Bengals take him at the 31 pick. Will you be happy?
Devontae Wyatt?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be absolutely thrilled. We're lacking
Trey Hendrickson
right now. Because Larry Ogunjobi, we lost him to free agency. He signed with the Bears, but then failed his physical. So he's still on the market. There's still a possibility we bring him back. But as of right now, we're without a three technique. And I know a lot of people are hoping they, address it in the draft. So if Devontae Wyatt is there at 31, I might go streaking.
God.
Oh my God. Anyway, pick 28.
Let me know when you do that. I'll stay indoors.
Good. You guys are invited to the draft party.
Pick 28. Green Bay Packers are back on the board with their pick that they got from losing in the divisional round. And that is with me which I think there's a lot of options that you could go here. And I'm going to go with kind of interesting one. I'm going to double up with receiver and take George Pickens out of Georgia.
Yeah, this is a situation that I could very realistically see happening. If any team's going double receiver in the first round, it will be the Packers. And I think George Pickens is very sadly the best fit for that Packers offense of the receivers that are going to be on the board for them. Kills me because he is my number 4 player in this whole draft class, my number 1 wide receiver, someone I think is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. I've got that kind of upside for him. And to see him go to the Packers would just be
4 picks before the Lions.
It'd just be a huge punch in the stomach. That would make me feel sick to my stomach.
See, Chase, when I was trying to trade up to 21 with the Lions, and it was between I was going to take either Nakobe Dean or George Pickens. So sorry I couldn't get that trade done for you.
No, it's all good. I really, even if he is available to Lions pick, I kind of have a feeling they're not going to go him, and that would kind of hurt me even more. So I'd almost rather him not be there than him be there and not be taken.
Yeah, but if he does fall to the second round, I think that if the Lions have no excuse not to take him.
I would agree.
So Packers double up a receiver.
A-Rod's getting some toys.
He is, and it sucks as a Lions fan. It's terrible.
Good thing the Vikings good thing the Vikings were taking Stingley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for real.
I gotta say, it's a good thing that we are also drafting as the GM, because if this was the Packers' real GM, no chance in hell they go back to back.
Jahan Dotson would be off the board.
Yeah, no, even better. It would be Josh Pascal, the edge out of Kentucky, because do whatever you can to hurt Aaron Rodgers. That is the Green Bay philosophy.
There's like 7 better edges still on the board than him.
Yeah, but hey, it is
they might have went with Matt Corral. I think they might have went Matt Corral with this pick.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good thing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep, that is such perfect Matt Corral. And one thing, speaking of like backup quarterbacks for the Packers, Jordan Love has like 10.5 hands. He has huge hands. I did not even know
Much bigger than Kenny Pickett. Give me Jordan Love over Kenny Pickett.
Not even a question.
Well, yeah, you say that. Jordan Love has great hands, and Jordan Love sucks.
I mean, we haven't seen enough of Jordan Love. We saw him in his underdraft.
Plus the Lions. I mean,
he looked great.
It's pretty bad.
Hey, the Lions were an elite organization down the
stretch.
The
Lions, I got to say, they were in every single game besides that Eagles game, and I'd say the Monday Night Football at the Packers.
And the Bengals game.
Yeah,
that's true too.
That Eagles game we don't need to talk about. I was there. That was maybe the worst.
Were you at the Bengals one too?
Yeah,
yes, he was.
Yeah, which I could live with the Bengals one. The Eagles one I could not live with because that was not a good enough team to do that to the Lions. And
yeah, DeAndre Swift in my fantasy. Whew, he screwed me that week.
That genuinely might have been the worst Lions game I've been to in my life. And I was at the Monday night game when Sam Darnold makes his debut, throws a pick 6 in the first play, and then they go on to win by like 35 points. That game was at the time the worst, but the Eagles one might have taken the cake.
No, very not much so. That was a terrible game. So now, pick 29 with the Kansas City Chiefs getting it from the San Francisco 49ers. They have back-to-back picks here, and Chase has back-to-back picks here. Chase, who you going with for Kansas City both times?
It makes my decision really easy, honestly. So I was between, okay, am I going George Pickens or am I going Chris Olave? I'm obviously going Chris Olave because there's just no need for him to be available at the 29th pick still for the Chiefs. That is just a home run. That's the type of receiver. I think Olave is a really strong fit for the Chiefs, where if they want, they might even trade up and try to make sure they get him. But if he falls to 29 and they get to have this extra pick as well, that's just fantastic value for them.
Like, this receiver class is so deep. No matter who is there is a slam dunk for the Chiefs, considering they have Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes can pretty much make a lot of receivers look good. I mean, I guarantee you if Mecole Hardman was on a different team, like let's say Mecole Hardman was on, let's go with the Giants with Daniel Jones, he would be irrelevant. Patrick Mahomes just makes players look good. And I think that he can absolutely not only make Chris Olave look good, I think he can make him an absolute stud.
Well, to be honest, Daniel Jones made Kenny Galladay look irrelevant, but I do got to say, we've been hearing a lot of Sky Moore to Kansas City hype. Chase, you were not interested in that.
In the first round?
Not with Chris Olave on the board. Are you
kidding
me?
I mean, I love Chris Olave. I definitely like him more than Sky Moore, but just wanted to bring that up,
I do like Sky Moore as a potential NFL receiver. There's just so many more guys that I'm going to take in the first round. There's not that many availability wide receiver early.
I think Sky Moore would be a great fit with Buffalo. Like in the later rounds, I think that could be a very good fit for Sky Moore.
Could be a good day 2 fit.
Yeah, him and Josh Allen. Woo. But you're on the board again, Chase.
Yes,
you're on the clock again.
Am. Yeah, so a couple ways you can go here. You can go offense if you're silly, or you can go defense because there's some needs on that defense. You could go with an edge. You could go with a cornerback. You go with a safety. I think all three of those positions are legitimate needs, and really it just comes down to what I think would make the most sense for them. And I really think they could benefit from getting some real pass rush and have it be someone that is kind of an athletic freak. So if you were wondering who I'm talking about, that is Boye Mafe. I think it is a nice fit. It's someone who I think can come in and be a true pass specialist to start and then develop into a all-purpose type of defensive end, edge, linebacker, hybrid, whatever you want to use him as. I think he can play all those positions just fine. It's truly going to be a situation where you're going to use him on the more obvious passing situations at first. So you can kind of let him, stand on the sidelines, evaluate how, an NFL defense is going against the NFL offense, kind of process the game a little more. And then, maybe down the stretch during the season, he gets some more playing time. And then obviously 2, 3, 4 years into his career, he should end up being a pretty nice edge rusher.
Yeah, I like the pick. Chris Jones, Frank Clark, you got over there, but Boye Mafe has the upside that I think maybe both of them don't even sniff. So I think that these two guys can help bring Boye Mafe into his own, and he is really talented. It was a guy that you and I were both talking about in our edge class that we're a little bit shocked that he was as freaky athletically than what we initially thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he run like his 40 time was like unbelievable for his size, I thought.
4.53.
Yeah.
Very nice 40.
Yeah, I would say
I thought Jordan Davis was fast.
6'4", 265, 4.53, running half a second faster than Jalen Weidemer.
Yep.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Like, where did these athletic D linemen come from? Like, we had Montez Sweat a couple years ago, Jordan Davis this year. Like this, it just shows how athletic you have to be to make the NFL, and it's really crazy.
Just like even in this draft class, you're like there's some really unique edge players that are from overseas. They're non-Americans. You've got Karlaftis, who's Greek. You got Boye Mafe, who is from Nigeria. And then later on in the draft, you got Amari Barno, you got David Ojabo. You've got a lot of interesting options, and they're coming from overseas. We're starting to see a lot more of these athletic freaks come over, get those high school prep opportunities. As sophomores, someone, I don't know who the hell finds them in these random countries, but they find these athletes to be like, you know what, you could be a football player, and they almost always turn into good football players.
And the 2 offensive linemen, Ryman and Falele.
Yeah, and both guys that I am very high on, especially Falele.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice pick. Moving on to pick 31. Mikey, you have the Bengals, correct?
I do.
I gave you the Steelers, but I gave you the Bengals to make up for it. So,
oh, what a guy!
There you
go.
Options
here for you. There's some good options here on the board for the Bengals. I would be happy with.
I can't remember. Was it the Derek Stingley pick that you said was the easiest pick of the draft, or what pick was that you thought was the?
I said it for a couple.
I said it for a lot of picks.
Yeah, I said it for Stingley. At the time was the Stingley.
I said it for Stingley. Burks. Who else did I say it for? Kyle Hamilton.
Hey, I just got to say, you don't got to worry about it anymore because this is the easiest pick of this mock draft. It is so incredibly easy. The biggest need for the Bengals right now is corner. They addressed offensive line very heavily in free agency. Went out, got Lyle Collins. Went out and got Ted Karras, Alex Kappa. They did well addressing the offensive line. If Tyler Linderbaum was here, it would be very hard to pass up. But I don't want Eli Apple starting for me. So I'm going a guy who I think has very high potential. I talked about it on our defensive back episode that this is a guy who I think can be a cornerback 1. He plays good in man. He plays good in zone. It's Andrew Booth. I'm a huge fan.
Yep.
I saw your tweet about that saying if Booth or Linderbaum falls to the Bengals at 30, you would be ecstatic.
Yeah, and looking at my draft or mock draft prep, I've got Booth as my number one guy. Tyler Linderbaum as my number two. So when I look at positional need and then grades that I have on the players themselves, like this is the easiest pick for me. I think it's a slam dunk. George Karlaftis is there, who I absolutely love. Interested if you had any other names you were looking at, Chase, but okay. Maybe just because, we got Von Bell and what's his name? Jesse Bates over there.
I talk about all the time. I am a big fan of defensively versatile players, for versatile defensive players, however you got to word that, and it's exactly what Dax Hill would bring to that offense, where he could legitimately play like more than half the snaps at their corner position and be just fine.
Yeah.
Not only is Andrew Booth,
let me go get the Pierre corner.
Not only is Andrew Booth very good in coverage, I think that he is exceptionally good in his tackling. I mean, I've seen him on film get around blocks and make some tackles on the outside, on the inside. He is very good at tackling as well. So he is a very, very good corner. He is my corner 3, I believe.
I think you and I both have him as corner 3 as well, above Trent McDuffie, who went so much earlier.
I have one guy above Trent McDuffie, and I'll say that I'll do that on your podcast because he's on my guys list. But
Perfect.
We'll do that on Sunday. So Andrew Booth, I mean, from going to orange, I think it'll be a perfect fit. Now, I'm really happy because this guy, who I thought would be long gone, is still here. And the Cinderella story pick would be David Ojabo, Michigan to Michigan. But no, it is not. We are going to be heading to Mississippi and grabbing Matt Corral.
Oh.
Lions take Matt Corral to back up Jared Goff and potential in hopes of being
backup.
He's got to back him up and will be hopefully the face of the Lions franchise. I thought for sure that Mikey would go with him with the 27th pick because Brady would be retiring after this year, but you got faith in Kyle Trask. I respect it. But yeah, it was an easy choice as soon as I saw Matt Corral on the board.
I don't know if it's faith in Kyle Trask, but more of we need to make sure Brady gets another one before he retires. So why
I think Kyle Trask can. I think he can.
So my only thing is here, even though I am higher on Matt Corral than a lot of people, I do think he's someone worth taking in the first round. I don't know how much it really matters for that the 5th year option. I get that especially for a quarterback that it makes sense, but I can guarantee you that the Jags wouldn't be taking him at pick 33, so the Lions can still get him at pick 33.
But the Jags have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, so the Jags aren't picking him at 33. So the Lions get him at 34, where the Jags might take Dax Hill at 33, and I would rather Dax Hill as safety is a very glaring need for the Lions. But it's not like it's a horrendous pick that I can't see, and if it happened in the real draft, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would just be a little nervous because I would really want to see Dax Hill as well if he's available there.
Yeah, fair enough. That is where I have him going in, like my real draft and my real mock draft and what I think he's going to have. I think he's going 32 to the Lions.
That'd be cool.
Hey, there's a lot of really good players on the board still. George Karlaftis, Dax Hill, as we're talking about. You still got the top running backs and some good wide receivers out there too. So, I would be ecstatic as a Lions fan to see that many players drop. And honestly, if George Karlaftis is there at 34, I know I took Kayvon Thibodeau, but I would think about it. If I took Matt Corral at 32, I probably wouldn't think about it. But, if Dax Hill or someone went at 32, then definitely think about doubling up.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are in such a good position to get so many young players because I believe they do have 2 second-round picks, 2 first-round picks. You can nail a stud with the number 2 overall pick. You can get a very, very good player with those 3 other picks, with the first round and the 2 second-round picks that can turn into studs in the NFL. So I think if I had wanted to be any team in the draft, it would be the Lions because don't they also have 2 third-round picks?
Yeah, one is
they have so much to potentially even trade up, get the players they want. They can do so many things with their picks that they can do get any player they want pretty much. They can get who they want and they can do what they want, which I think is very important when it comes to drafting.
For sure.
Unless you're the Raiders. That is, but to end the mock draft for the locker room, Matt Corral goes off the board, leaving 3 quarterbacks in the first round. Aiden Hutchinson went first overall. That was a lot of fun. I will have to admit that was very fun. I'm planning on doing this yearly for the locker room. So I really just want to thank my dad for coming on, WNP, Chase, and Mikey for coming on. So thank you guys for coming on.
Hey, I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was good stuff, dude. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the invite.
No problem.
You guys teach me all these things. I get to learn all you guys have all the knowledge, and I just kind of spit a little game here and there, but it's always fun to be on here with you guys. So I was happy you guys invited me, and I appreciate it.
Well, hey, that's why we bring you on, so that you can just continue to talk about all the things that, we told you. So
that's right.
To move our narrative forward. We love that.
Oh yeah.
And I will I'm surprised, Dad, how good you did for forgetting your notes.
Yeah, I forgot my notes. So that was we're going off the cuff, but hey.
Love it.
Not bad.
Very, 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 very
It was a little
impressive.
tough trying to figure out who was off the board and who was still on the board, but
yeah, I was writing it down as I went on just to make sure. Okay, he's not taken. But yeah.
So,
but
appreciate it from the pit of Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, sounds
Thanks
disgusting.
for having me.
Yep, no problem. Had a lot of fun. And if you guys do want to see more of this content, I will be on the WNP show doing the My Guys episode with Chase and Mikey. So make sure you look out for that. Make sure you go subscribe to them and turn on your notifications for them and watch them on their podcast platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe to the locker room. Make sure you comment your favorite NFL team so I can do more coverage on them. And that is going to be it for the episode. I had a great time filming the biggest locker room episode in history. So that was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can do this again next year and continue on the tradition. So year 1 of the locker room mock draft. We'll see you next year. Peace out.